Welcome to Inspire the Next Mind by Fazuz.ai. Today, we're going to break down a framework that is so simple, but honestly so powerful. It can pretty much tell you why a project is going to be a huge success, or why it's doomed from the very start. Let's dive in.
So, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen it happen? A project gets a huge budget, you've got a team of incredibly smart people, all the right ingredients seem to be there, and yet somehow it just completely goes off the rails. It's a super common, super frustrating story. But what if the reason it all falls apart isn't some big, complicated mystery?
What if the real cause is something, fundamental, something that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time? The problem usually isn't about a lack of money or talent. It's about a lack of balance.
And that brings us to the core idea for today, the leadership tripod. I want you to picture any project you're working on as a three-legged stool. For that stool to be stable, right, all three of those legs have to be strong and in perfect balance.
Now, this isn't just a catchy name. This is the People, Process, and Technology Framework. It's a model that really smart leaders use to figure out what's going wrong and, more importantly, how to build for success. It really just boils down to the three non-negotiable pillars of any healthy project.
So let's break down those three legs, okay? First, you've got people. This is the who. It's all about having the right skills, the right culture, and making sure everyone's actually on board with the plan. Then there's process. That's the how. Think of this as your playbook, your workflows, the standards for how stuff actually gets done. And finally, you have technology, the what. These are the tools, the software, the hardware that lets your people actually do the work.
And this right here, this is the golden rule of the tripod. Balance isn't just a nice to have, it is absolutely everything. If you let just one of these legs get weak or wobbly, the entire structure just comes crashing down.
So, what does that crash look like in the real world? Well, let's walk through three little cautionary tales. And they all center around one classic scenario, a company trying to roll out a brand new CRM system.
All right, our first story is one I bet a lot of you have seen before. I call it the shiny tool failure. This is what happens when a company falls head over heels in love with a piece of technology, but completely forgets about the people who actually have to use it every day.
You can see the imbalance so clearly here. The leaders went out and bought the fanciest, most powerful CRM on the market. They even designed a perfect process on paper, but they totally neglected the people leg. They just forced this new tool on the sales team with zero input, zero training, and zero support.
And the result? Exactly what you'd expect. The team hated it. They went right back to their old familiar spreadsheets, and that multi-million-dollar tool just sat there collecting dust. The lesson is so crucial. You can never, ever ignore the human element. Okay, next up, the Wild West failure. This is what happens when you've got great motivated people and you've got some pretty good tools, but there is absolutely no agreed-upon way of doing things.
So in this scenario, the company had a really smart, driven sales team. They had a decent CRM, but that process leg, it was just gone. The manager basically said, "Here's the tool, you all figure it out." The result was pure chaos. Everybody used the tool differently, the data was an absolute mess, and you couldn't get a single clean report out of the system.
The big takeaway here is that process is the glue. It's what holds everything together. Without it, even the best people and the best technology just can't work in harmony to get you consistent, reliable results. Now for a final story of failure, and it's basically the exact opposite of our first one. This is the broken tool failure. It's where you have a fantastic team and a great plan, but they are completely sabotaged by terrible technology.
So in this situation, the company had a super motivated team. They had a brilliant workflow all mapped out, but, to save a few bucks, they decided to build their own CRM from scratch. And it was awful. It was slow, it was buggy, it crashed all the time. The technology leg was just fundamentally broken.
The team got so frustrated because the tool they were forced to use was actually fighting against them, making their jobs harder. The lesson couldn't be clearer. Your technology has to serve your people and your process. It can't be a roadblock.
Okay, enough with the doom and gloom. Let's pivot. Let's talk about how to get it right. We're going to look at how one smart leader took that same CRM project and had incredible success, all by intentionally building a balanced tripod from the start.
And this is the blueprint. Look at the sequence here. It's perfect. She didn't start with the tech. No, She started with the people. She held workshops to actually listen and understand their biggest headaches. Then she designed the process, but she did it with the team. Only after all that did she even think about the technology, and get this, she let the actual users vote on the best tool for them. The launch was all about support, hands-on training, and celebrating those small wins. And the result of this balanced, people-first approach? A 100% adoption rate in just 2 months. The sales team started closing deals faster, marketing finally had clean data to work with, the whole tripod was perfectly stable and strong.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's great for a CRM project from a few years ago, but what about today's big challenges? Well, let's take this timeless framework and apply it to maybe the biggest topic out there right now, artificial intelligence.
It's actually kind of amazing how perfectly AI failures map onto this framework. Just think about it. You deploy a black box model that nobody trusts or understands, that's a people-leg failure, plain and simple. You build a brilliant model, but it never actually gets used because there's no process to deploy it, total process-leg failure. And, oh yeah, spending millions on a fancy AI platform when you have no clean data or people who know how to use it, a classic textbook technology-leg failure. The same rules always apply.
So here's the bottom line. It doesn't matter if you're implementing new software, launching a creative project, or deploying cutting-edge AI. The path to success is always the same. It is not about having the absolute best of any one thing. It's about making sure all 3 legs, your people, your process, and your technology, are strong, aligned, and in perfect balance.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about the biggest, most important project on your plate right now. Is it a stable tripod, or is one of those legs a little shorter than the others, just kind of waiting to tip the whole thing over? Which leg needs your attention right now?